Cryptocurrency. It's the latest thing, and people seem to be making a lot of money in it. Should you go and buy some cryptocurrency? Hi, I'm Bridget Sullivan Mermel, and I'm a fee-only financial planner in Chicago, Illinois.
And I'm John Shear. I'm a fee-only financial planner in Middleton, Wisconsin. It's a great topic for today's episode of Friends Talk Financial Planning. I've got a few ideas, like I've looked at this, of course, and I sort of pay attention. But Bridget, I know that you've done some more research than I have. And in fact, on your TV show, you interviewed a cryptocurrency expert recently, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm just interested to hear like what you talk about with your clients, what you learn from this expert, and like if I'm sitting in your office and I say, geez, I should be investing in cryptocurrency, shouldn't I? How do you talk about that with folks?
Well, cryptocurrency is an interesting topic to me because it's a newer thing. So it's something that's come up probably in the last 20, 25 years. So some people think that it's really recent, but it's really been around. People started developing it, I think, in the late 90s, but it's really come into play recently. And people wonder about it, and there's very persuasive arguments made for the reason why it might be a good thing. So there's some marketing muscle and some people that are very effective salespeople influencing people on why this is a good thing and the next big thing and why they should get involved. So the other thing is that it appeals to people who are intelligent. So people who are into computers and people who are futuristic thinking. So it's a different type of new thing than some of the others that maybe we've seen. So I think that's what the appeal is for people. I am concerned, the way that I look at it is, we talk about investing and on one side of the spectrum and gambling on the other side of the spectrum. And, gambling and speculating. And when we talk about investing, we're thinking about investing in companies that are trying to make money and maybe hopefully add value to society over time. Or we're trying to loan money, maybe to the US government or to companies, again, because they're trying to improve things, right? Yeah. Cryptocurrency, I would say, is really on the other end of the spectrum where it's more speculating at this point, whether or not our financial system will change to accommodate the specific cryptocurrency you might be interested in buying. So I'm not saying that the technology that's behind cryptocurrency probably is going to be useful and used, but I am not so sure that any particular cryptocurrency is going to be the one that makes it. Or if any of the ones that are currently available will actually be used in the future. So it is on the speculating end of things.
Yeah, that's interesting. There's a couple things I wanted to pick out of that, of what you said there, Bridget. One I thought this was really interesting that I had not heard of before was that I was under the impression this is new technology and it's 20 or 25 years old. It's and so I'm thinking in my head as you're describing that, why is this big now? And that marketing muscle, right? And those things that's out there, sort of follow the money on that. That's an interesting thought process of why it might be seem so appealing now. And then the other thing that, as you're talking about that, and as you know, I use that gambling versus investing sort of thing. It's not, you make money gambling, right? It's not, and speculating, I've never really associated that, but it's the same thing, but speculating feels different, right? Because there's reasons for doing that. It's not right. Like, are the dice going to come up with 2 3s right. Or whatever, right? It's, well, listen, here, there's logic to it and it makes it feel differently, but you're sort of betting on what's going to happen. And one of the things that reminded me of is, even if this cryptocurrency takes over, right, it gets legs, and there's, as I heard you say anyway, maybe is it going to or not? We don't know. But so much of what I think about these things, or what I hear people talking about is, oh, is this going to be the next thing? And like, I'm betting on it's going to be the next thing. But if you take away from that, whether it is or not, maybe it is going to be, but speculating on like which company is it going to be and how is it going to work, it's sort of like these days, if you think of the big company, Google or Apple or things, and you go, golly, if I just invested in them, 20 years ago. But when you think about, let's say, Google being the search engine it is today, it's easy to forget that back in the 90s, we also had Ask Jeeves, and we had, Netscape as browsers, right? Those things, and you remember those winners, and you go, oh, I want to pick Phil in the crypto is going to be the next winner. And even if the technology really changes the world, right? If this is what it's going to be, that doesn't mean that today we can make smart decisions about it, right? So it's an interesting thing. And look at airline industry, it changed the world, right? But geez, you had to pick the right one to make money. Automobiles changed the world. But there were over 100 automobile manufacturers back in the early part of the last century, and so it's that history. It feels so appealing. That's where that speculation. I love that analogy on things. But then, like, how to pick that, so from a practical standpoint, that's some great background. Like, okay, so what do we do? Like, what do I do today? That's great, Brittany. What do I do now? Do I invest in it?
If you're really interested, don't think of it as investing. And what I tell clients is don't put more money into it than you would be willing to lose in Vegas. And then sure, give it a try, but don't think of it. I would say it's not investing, it's short-term speculating. And think of it that way. Don't think, if you buy some and it goes up, sell half of it.
Yeah.
Sell all, so you can still keep a little bit, but, sell it as you're going along. So think of it as a short-term thing that you're interested now. Don't think, oh, I'm going to buy this and forget this. If you want to buy something and forget about it, do I-bonds.
Yeah, right.
Don't do Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency. So that's my take. The other thing about the specific types is governments. Well, I'm going out a little bit on a ledge here, but I past where I probably know, but this is according to an expert, she agreed. So I think the governments will probably get involved. Right now, it's all individual companies or people that are doing this. I think governments control currency now. Bitcoin is another type of currency. So I think that is the way that it might go, is the governments will take over or get the technology or develop the technology themselves. And so the whole thing could go away, but maybe it won't. And so, I don't have a total crystal ball on this, but I would just consider it speculating, which is fine. You can speculate. But it should be fun for you too.
And then you talk about what happens in the future, right? And as I understand, again, my limited knowledge is that one of the appeals to it now is it's not regulated, right? It's not part of the governmental currency. And one of the dangers in when you think about your money is that the tendency to think that what's going on now or what has gone on is going to continue. Right. And so that it's so important, again, whether it happens or but to think about, well, what if that changes, right? How does that change this? And that's not something I hear many people talking about when I do hear about the cryptocurrency.
The technical term for what you're talking about is recency bias. So we think what's happening now is going to keep happening forever, but that's not the case.
That's great. I got the layman's terms in there, right? It's so interesting.
The jargon is recency bias.
Right. One other thing that I just wanted to bring, as you talk about that difference between investing and speculating or investing and gambling, and it's not, I do the same as you with client, like, hey, have some money, have 5%. It should be fun. It's fun to pay attention to that stuff, right? But and the image that came into my head as you're talking about that is, and you mentioned early in the episode, a business that's looking to create value or do something good, right? And I thought of a farmer, buying farmland, right? There's value. You're gonna grow crops and sell your crops or your livestock or whatnot. And you don't expect to make a ton of money in the first year. I mean, you're not going to double your investment in the first year, right? You're not going to get a 50% return. But why would you do that? Because over time, over the next 25 years, you have pretty reliable, that, hey, you're going to have crops and people are going to buy milk and all those sorts of things. versus the speculation of saying, well, geez, I think land prices are going to spike, so I'm going to buy some now, right? And that different viewpoint is building wealth long term. That's where the investing comes in, and we're not going to hit home runs necessarily, but that doesn't mean that you can't, or it's not fun to do some of that speculating and see if you can hit a couple of home runs. So that's great.
So it seems like that's a great place to wrap it up, John.
Yeah.
I'm Bridget Sullivan-Ramal, and this is John Shearer. And the first thing I want to mention is that please subscribe to our channel. That helps us get more attention with YouTube and help other people find us.
And if you like the ideas that we talk about on this show, both Bridget and I are members of the Alliance of Comprehensive Planners, a nationwide group of fee-only comprehensive financial planners that think in a similar way that we do. And if you're interested in checking out somebody that might provide this sort of advice for you, you can look us up at acplanners.org. And with that, thanks, Bridget.
Thanks, John.